So today is June 26th. No, it's the 28th. And so we planted all this on the 10th. So it's 18 days old. I've been trying to get to this sooner, but it's hard to find time for all of these things. So what I'm gonna do today is go in and plant another planting. Everything's pretty much come up and it's doing really well. The radishes are probably the best, looking the best, and they're actually going to be ready to harvest here in another week or so. And I'm going to go through and I'll do another row, so we have a kind of a delayed harvest of all the salad greens, and we'll do more carrots, and we'll also plant in this middle row here that we've kind of been just using as a walkway, but I'll string up some more misting nozzles so we can irrigate the middle row too. And we'll plant the beans and peas in there. I got these magnets that I've been using, these neodymium magnets, which have about a 4 or 5 pounds of pull. And they've been working really well. And then I use the clothespins just to keep it all bunched together, and then the magnets actually hold it to the hoops. We can take a quick walk through and see how everything's doing. This is romaine, which is doing okay. And here's a gold rush lettuce, which is probably the best one. And then this is Grandma Hadley's purple lettuce, the start of a second row here. So I'm going to finish off these rows, and then probably do another row of romaine, and then or maybe I'll do more gold rush and Grandma Hadley's down here. They seem to be working good. I want to kind of get the hang of the lettuce, and then next year, we probably do full beds of just salad greens, then plant them lengthwise. Here's the radishes. They're doing great. The arugula was the first thing to sprout up after about 3 days, and then the radishes were right behind it, and then they just really took off the past week. A couple of spotty places here, and I don't know if that's from my planting or just the germination rate of the seed. That's a good reason to start things indoors. We also had a dog run through the garden bed at one point. I'm not going to name names, but he was scolded for that. And then ever since we've got the fabric on top of the hoops, they've kind of seen their boundary there. The arugula also really spotty. I don't know if that's just the seed or if that was my planting method. So I'm going to try and do a little better job of planting this next round, a little more consistent, and see if that helps. Really make sure I get all the sticks and rocks out before I do the compacting and then marking the rows. That's gonna make a difference, I think. So then hopefully we'll get a little better germination rate. You can see the mushrooms coming up. After we harvest all of this stuff, we'll probably do like one big planting of kale and carrots, and we'll do that late August or in September, and we'll see how long we can go into the winter with those things, and just see how they do, and when they actually die off. This will be our experiment here. So the onions have been really impressive. I didn't have much hope for the onions because I've never had good luck with onions in the past. Even starting them inside, I've grown one onion in the past successfully, and so I didn't really have much hope for just sprinkling these seeds in the ground, and they've all come up really nicely. I think the watering system is doing really good things for them. Here's the edamame, the soybeans. Pretty much all of them have come up. Just a couple of spots where they haven't. Some are a lot slower than others for some reason. I don't know. I think I did a lot where they were pretty consistent in the planting depth. So I'm not sure what, maybe that's just germination rate and different plant characteristics. They're also kind of spotty. I don't, that might be, my soil is, might be a little too acidic or something. I didn't add any lime. Other things seem to be doing okay. So I'm not 100% sure on that. And the beets are all looking really good. I think I just didn't reach far enough to plant the full rows when I was doing this. I need to be a little more careful. And then the carrots just look really small. I came through and I thinned them out a bit. So we have 3 different varieties and 3 rows here. And hopefully they take off. They're kind of, I was thinking they would grow a little bit faster, but maybe they're just setting their roots down. Some more mushrooms. Okay, so we're here by the lettuce, or the salad bed. And one thing I'm also going to try and do better this time is mark out both ends of the rows, every row. Here I kind of did, so like the mesclun mix, I think I just planted a row here, and I think I left a blank space here, but some of this started looking like lettuce, and I didn't know if I was, this is just a nice row of weeds that I ended up keeping. So I'm gonna mark both ends of each row so I know where all the seeds went, and then I have a better idea of what sprouted and how it did, because right now I'm kind of guessing. So right now I'm gonna probably just replant over this middle part here, and I'll do more of the mix, 2 more rows of it over here, just because that's something I would like to, I think would be a good staple to have, a salad mix. I would like to get that figured out and get that growing reliably, and then we'll go and interplant again another row of romaine, and then a couple more of the salad greens. I'm gonna roll. I'll go through and I'll pick out all the sticks and everything first, and the rocks and the bark, and then I'll roll and compact it, and then I'll cut my grooves for dropping the seeds in. So to roll and to compact it, instead of using my big barrel, again this time I'm going to use I forget what the name of this tool is, but I think I've just been calling it a chunk of wood, and I'm going to just roll it to compact everything and give me a nice flat bed to plant into. But I got to go through and get the bark out, and then I was looking for something that I could kind of roll to cut my tracks to put the seeds into, and last time I had used the edge of the trowel, or the edge of the garden spade, and it just wasn't very consistent. I think that might be why some of my kind of got spotty rows. So I'm going to try something that's a little more uniform, and eventually I think we'll get a cedar, something that's a little more accurate and consistent. But we're kind of making it up as we go this season. I don't want to invest too much in a cedar if we end up doing transplants most of the time. So once we get the greenhouse, we can kind of get our transplant system figured out, and then we'll see how much work that takes and weigh the pros and cons of direct seeding versus transplanting. But for now, it's all just direct seeding because we don't have anywhere to start seeds. So to cut my rows here, I was looking around in the garage for what I could use, and this thing caught my eye. I don't think it's intended for gardening, but it's just a giant pulley used for pulling logs and stuff through the forest. So I'm gonna roll this. I'll kind of keep that as my guide. These are 5-inch, so it'll give me 2 5-inch lines as I roll it through, which I think will be perfect. So I can either use a 5-inch or a 10-inch spacing and just skip one. we'll give the romaines some space. All right, so I'm gonna put my mosquito net on and just go down the rows and roll out all the empty spaces and cut seed grooves and get it planted, and then mark out every row that we plant. I want to plant that middle too. I don't know if I'm going to do that tonight or if I want to mix up another batch of topsoil and manure to give a little bit thicker of a bed to plant into. It's pretty deep. It's about 4 inches thick right now. It just looks, it's gotten pretty packed down just from walking on it. So, and I'll have to fence off the ends so dogs and children don't run through there anymore. But I'm gonna go get my bug net on so I can continue to be out here. Okay, we're back. It's 3 days later. Today's the 1st of July. And I'm gonna get this middle row planted today. I haven't had time to get to it. I wanted to do it at the same time, but I decided I wanted to add a little more topsoil to this middle row that we're gonna plant here. But so 3 days later, we've already got the arugula coming up as scheduled. And yeah, it looks like we can see some of the peas. Yeah, these didn't get buried very deep. Today I'm going to get this middle row planted. I wanted to add some more, a finer topsoil mix to plant into and see how that goes. I haven't had time to get to it until now. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to screen the soil, and then I'm going to spread out our planting bed here in the middle, and then we'll get planting into it. So yesterday I managed to find time to screen another wagon load of topsoil. This ran through the 1-inch screen I had made, and now I'm going to run it through this 1/4-inch screen to really get all the sticks and rocks out of it. And then I'll spread that down in a 1 or 2 inch thick layer in the middle here where I'm going to plant, because it's a little uneven right now, and there's a lot of grass and sticks and stuff in it that is going to make a uniform planting a little bit difficult. So I'm going to see how if this is worth the effort to make sure you have a really fine and level planting bed before you put the seeds in it. I'll see how much that improves our germination rate and our consistency in the plant size and everything. There's a lot more that goes into it as far as the water and the sun and everything. If there's shade that hits on parts, and and other things, but we'll try and get everything consistent and uniform, and then we can see what which variables are our biggest have the biggest impact. Okay, so here's the middle where I'm going to plant. I'm just going to plant on the right hand side here, and I'll leave the left hand side as a walkway to access this row, and then we'll just have to reach over to do any weed work on here. So I'm going to pull all these existing weeds right now, and then I'll put down a couple inch thick layer of this fine screened topsoil that I'm going to make here, just on the right side to level it all out and give a nice uniform base. I hooked up the misting irrigation system a couple days ago, and I've been letting that run, and so I can see where the water is hitting, and I wanted to make sure that I had a good I wasn't going to have any dry spots after we get the seeds in the ground. So letting this run for a couple days is good, even though we're just watering the ground right now, but I at least know where my coverage is. And it looks like we've been encouraging the weeds to grow because of that. So, and hopefully this layer of soil I add down today will kind of impede these existing weeds enough to get the seeds started. And then I might put down a layer of wood mulch after we plant to keep the moisture on the soil and to keep it from getting too hot, because there's no shade protection in the middle here, and I think the sun is pretty intense, and it seems the shade seems to be working really well on these beds, and I'm probably going to have to switch to more of a drip irrigation, a weeping hose or something. So we got about one wheelbarrow load screened here, and this is what we end up with. It's really nice, fluffy, looks like something you might buy at the store. Here's all the material I screened out, so it's all roots and bark and rocks. So I had initially made the small fine screen, and I was trying to filter the soil, the topsoil right from the ground through that, but it was just too fine, and all the root clumps and everything clogged it up, and so this two-step screening has really been a lot easier, doing the 1-inch screen to get all the bigger sticks and rocks out of there, and then this fine one to get all the smaller stuff out. So I think this has worked really well. So now since I put this fencing up to keep the kids and dogs out, and to remind everybody there's stuff here, I can't bring the wheelbarrow, and so I'm gonna just bring buckets of it in and spread it out by hand just on the left hand side. So I'm gonna get to doing that.